Make the strings louder.
Uh-oh. Big Dirty's going under the knife. So as you guys know, I was having a few little random issues with my truck, starting and stuff like that. Kind of when I was looking into that, I believe that was the kind of sticking IPR valve where it would randomly not start. And then it would start up and run just beautiful. So I went ahead and I got me an OEM, basically brand new IPR, and replaced it. Since driven it and probably started it up 20 to 30 times since then, and it hasn't done the random thing to me. Pretty stoked about that. But kind of in that whole research process, I plugged in the scanner and was doing some wide open throttle pulls. And basically at wide open throttle, my injection pressures, my like high pressure oil, should be around 2,500 PSI to properly atomize the fuel. And anyhow, it was dropping to like 1,800 PSI at 60% duty cycle, which is basically, I believe, fully closed as far as the IPR goes. So my high pressure oil pump is getting a little bit weaker. So that basically just, you know, means I'm not getting like a good clean burn out of the injectors. The factory injectors in these trucks are kind of like an emissions thing. So they're a split shot style injector. So basically it kind of shoots in like this little bit of fuel to, I guess, get the flame started. And then kind of as soon as it's going, then it shoots another one in there to kind of get it ignited. And I guess it's not as great as they say, or I don't know, you know, internet and reading stuff. Anyhow, I reached out to Full Force Diesel, and they basically, they sell tons of parts and stuff. But I think their kind of bread and butter is injectors, and they've done a ton of these injectors. So what these are, or I guess what I should say, is I got a set of upgraded injectors, upgraded adrenaline high pressure oil pump, some new valve cover gaskets, new glow plugs, some up pipes. I didn't get these from them. I got these just off eBay, but these are the bellowed up pipes because the factory ones have a little donut right there. Hydra chip right here. So this is the new tuning. So yeah, these are a stage 1.5 180 cc injector with a 30 over nozzle, and they are a single shot design. So instead of doing that little pre-shot, it's just basically one shot. So doing the whole like towing and stuff across the United States, you know, towing the Supras and all that stuff, I've ran into a couple of issues. I've been getting really poor miles, you know, fuel economy, as well as kind of like a little loss in power. So yeah, basically kind of talked to them, told them the whole situation. I told him, you know, he said that, you know, replacing the high pressure oil pump was kind of the way to go as far as, you know, my ICP pressure dropping. And then I kind of told him I was looking for more power. And, you know, I kind of wanted to get a newer truck, you know, with all the newer amenities and all that stuff. The new 6.7s make like 400 horse and like 900 foot-pounds of torque. But I'm not ready yet. You know, I don't want to spend the money on a new truck like that. They're just too damn expensive. And when I do spend the money on a newer truck or upgrade, I'm going to get like an auction truck, like a wrecked one with a salvage title, just because I can't justify spending, you know, 40 to 80 grand on a truck. But yeah, so this is going to kind of get me by for a little while, kind of, you know, satisfy my craving for a little bit more power. And so yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I'm curious to see how everything works out with this. My truck is, I mean, I've put 100,000 miles on it, and I think I've owned it for like 6 years. And I mean, it's hard to get rid of a good truck. You know, I mean, they say the best truck is the one that is paid off sitting in your driveway. And I mean, this thing, that's this thing. It paid off sitting in the driveway, and it just needs a little bit more power. The 4R100 transmissions in these things are actually pretty decent, especially when you build them. You know, like the older, like the E4OD or whatever, those ones had a lot of issues. But when you build the 4R100s, you could build them relatively cheap, and they could hold a lot of power. So I think maybe the next thing down the line, kind of depending on how this all works out, is like a billet torque converter, some upgraded stuff in the transmission, maybe an upgraded turbo. I'm going to do a few little things to my turbo and this. But you guys are probably tired of me rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and start yanking this thing apart. First thing we need to do is I'm just going to yank off the turbo so that I could install these bellowed up pipes, because these have like a little flex section in them, whereas the factory, it's basically, it just has like an exhaust donut in it. You can see right there. And so on the passenger side, it's leaking a little bit, and I have the ATS compressor housing on here. and I'm gonna go ahead and install like a wicked wheel in it as well as a new wastegate actuator, because I feel like my wastegate actuator has been being kind of finicky, and my boost pressures have just been kind of doing some random things. Like it goes like this between like 15 and 10, and I don't know, just random stuff. So I don't know, kind of a mouthful, but gonna start tearing this thing apart. Slap all these injectors in here. Not sure if we'll get her done tonight, but we're gonna get close. Alright, so I got the turbo off it. It wasn't too bad, other than that the back clamp was just being angry at me. But yeah, so now I think I need to loosen, try to get some light back down in there. I need to loosen those bolts and then go downstairs and do that. But now that I get back here, you can see it wasn't really leaking that bad. I don't know, kind of a big pain in the butt, but we're gonna get her done. Alright, so I got the pipes on there, and I got them tightened up top, but I left them kind of loose down low. Got new turbo pedestal O-rings, the turbo, and I'm going to slap it back on. I was trying to uninstall this factory wheel and install the wicked wheel that I had in this other like deal, but I just couldn't get it to loosen up, and I didn't want to like stick anything in the housing. And this one works technically, like this one's more efficient than this one, and I have the anti-surge housing. Just this wheel is a lot louder, so I kind of wanted to whistle more. But you know, this one's just fine. I don't really want to get like, you know, tear everything apart and, you know, mess with the balance of it just to throw this other wheel on it that only makes it a little bit louder, not technically more efficient. But yeah. So these up pipes, this was the one that had a little bit of a leak, so you could see kind of how that is. But kind of weird, they just like come off. They slide in there, and they have like this weird little donut O-ring in there. So basically these pipes, just replace those and put that nice little flex section on each side. And then you never have to worry about blowing out those gaskets again. But yeah, if you ever want to know how to install those, lots of extensions. You can see I got me. That's how I tightened up the top bolts. So I haven't been doing any time-lapse footage because it's been taking me random amounts of time to get anything done. So I removed the upper fuel bowl and regulator and all the lines and stuff, and then got the high-pressure oil pump out. That's it, laying over there on the ground. This was actually a remanufactured unit. I was actually kind of surprised because I thought everything on my truck was stock. So maybe it had like a new set of injectors and a new high pressure oil pump like right before they sold it. I don't know. But yeah, here's the new adrenaline pump. I need to swap over some of the fittings, that new IPR valve, and that's about it. I should be able to just smash it right back in there. Got the high pressure oil pump installed, got the lines and stuff hooked back on it, and the IPR in it. So yeah, now I just need to stick on the fuel bolt and then run this other little thing you can see back there. That is a little AN fitting. Same thing with right here. And basically on the factory fuel, it's like deadheaded, so there's no way for like the fuel to actually return from the heads. Basically, like once it's in there, it's like a returnless fuel system, but basically it just goes straight into the heads and that's it. So basically what this does is it allows it to return with a fuel pressure regulator spring. This is the riff raff diesel fuel rail crossover kit, and it also adds, basically turns it into like a little return pressure thing, so you could you know, it has 3 different springs. So it has a it was like 50, 60, and 70 is basically is the general things. But yeah, basically it just ties right in on the end right there, and you can see it kind of splits off, and then it goes to the back of each head, and it basically lets like the fuel return. So if there's any air bubbles in your fuel system, it won't shoot it through the injector or have to shoot it through the injector. It'll actually just shoot the bubbles back through, you know, the fuel line into the tank, which is pretty cool. So I definitely, so that was one of the things that over at Full Force they recommended. I think probably, especially when you're doing this whole like remove all the injectors and replace them. Normally diesels don't like to start after that. So you know, just because they're so, you know, especially with it deadheaded, it just there wouldn't be any way for it to actually like get the air out of it other than like shooting an air bubble through the injector, which isn't good for the injector. So yeah, I think tonight it's like 4 in the morning. I gotta drive Ty's old Civic home. He has that thing down here, but I'm basically gonna get the fuel bowl back on it. I wanted to get the turbo sitting back on it, but I don't know. I want to leave here at like 5 so I could at least get a couple hours of sleep before I gotta go take the baby for a checkup. So it's late. I'm coming back tomorrow. I got that riff raff thing kind of installed and loosely placed, but come back tomorrow, install the turbo. Shouldn't take too long, and throw them injectors in it, and maybe Big Dirty will be ripping. But it's time for bed. So I'm basically just putting on the valve cover real quick, just to do a quick, just basically bump it over a couple times, and I left the glow plugs out of it. So when you pull out the injectors, all the oil that's in the head, basically it flows down into the cylinders and the cylinder walls, and so we don't want that. Basically, if we tried to start it right now, it'd probably bend a rod because it would just Hydra lock, because it wouldn't have anywhere to go. So basically just leave the glow plugs out of it, crank it over a couple times, and then it should just spew all the oil out into the valve cover, and then so that way we don't have oil shooting all over the engine bay or anything. So I'll just tighten this down real quick. I haven't put on the valve cover gaskets, but should be all right. Also, a pretty good way to do this without actually having to, like, especially since we don't have any fuel stuff hooked up, is over here on these trucks. Just reconnect the ground cable. It's not touching anywhere. Reconnect the ground cable real quick. Pull off this this connector over here, and you could usually go on one of these studs right here and bump it over a little bit. Bump it a couple times, get some of that. Alright, so that's it for now. I'm gonna go to a concert and then come back later at maybe. Alright, so day 3. I was here yesterday, but I basically only got one bank of the injectors in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this the passenger side bank on real quick, and then slap the turbo on it, and then I need to put the chip in it. We should be able to see if it'll fire, but I wasn't able to get any of this footage yesterday on account of I didn't have my camera here, but I got you some stuff on here. Yeah, I don't know, I'm pretty stoked to get it going. Hopefully it all works really good. So now I am gonna remove the glow plugs so that I could cycle the engine over and blow out all of the oil that's in the cylinders now. I'll pull it back off, throw the valve cover gaskets and harnesses on it. Getting close. Getting really close. Alright, so got this whole bank of injectors on, valve covers on, everything's ready to go. With that, at least. So now I need to slap the turbo back on it, change the oil, hook up the intercooler piping, swap out the chip, and we'll be ready for startup, see if we get this thing to fire up. It's probably going to be a pain in the butt to start, because normally it's the air and angry.
Should we get Dave in the pole well?
Dave, why are you so clean?
What to eat?
Ooh.
Are you ready to mess up that shirt?
Ooh. Yeah, but you're wearing a yellow shirt in the shop.
Around the dirty old diesel thing.
Yeah.
So this is what it looks like after I've actually got some work done. Probably. But
you wear gargoyles.
so right now we have this well yeah, look how clean my hands are. Alright, so this is that Hydra chip. The full force guys programmed for me for the split shot injectors, because they have to change the timing. Because this only does 1 shot of fuel versus 2 shots of fuel. So I have to, so far, up until now, I've had a TS Performance chip on my truck, like a 6-position, just with like the regular cheap tunes on it, or that they come with. So then this thing, it comes with this little digital guy, and you can go up and down it, put up to like 15 different tunes on it. But right here, you see it has the tow, idle, daily, performance, all that stuff. So.
It has 15 different versions of Angry Diesel.
Yeah, hopefully, I don't know, we're gonna see what this thing does. So there's a 10mm bolt holding on the harness that goes into the ECU. And then I come in here. I have my backup camera thing, like right in the damn way.
Oh, for the trawler?
Not the trawler.
Oh, just in general. Did you do a video on how you did that backup camera and put it on your pod?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, so Trevor's backup camera's right here. Ooh, is that the sound you make, bud?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, I'm gonna put, has a cable going down it, so it's stuck.
It's all on, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep, TS Performance.
Looks like a big one.
Well, this one I can plug into a USB and tune it.
What was that?
This one I could plug in with a USB and I could tune it. Mm-hmm.
Does that make you all pumped?
Yeah.
Where are you gonna mount that little switch?
Oh, yeah.
And just like that, all the power, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor, what are you doing?
So we just got the oil changed. I left the intake off of it just in case we gotta squirt some ether in there, because it's probably gonna not want to start at all. Because there's gonna be a big old air bubble in the system, well, in the high pressure oil system and in the fuel. But the fuel should be all right because it has that reroute thing, so it should let all the air bubbles come back right out of the head, so that'll be nice. But I don't know. First start.
What do you think, Dave?
I mean the lake. Did you tell them about the new lake?
Oh, the lake underneath it, Lake Big Dirty.
The Black Sea.
Here, look at that. That's from it just leaking all the shit down in the
Holy
deal.
shit, bud.
No,
Shizo.
we
Shizo.
should probably get that fan and put it back here, like sucking out.
Let's just see how much she rips first. Or he rips.
Oh, it's gonna like...
It's got a chooch.
Look at that saw dog.
Well, you gotta think there's also like at least a couple quarts of oil in the exhaust.
We should take that thing for a rip.
What?
Okay.
We'll just see what happens.
Let's see what happens, and then if it gets too much, I'll turn it on.
Well, I didn't plug in the ECU.
But
Plug it in, plug it in.
what commercial is that? Glade plugins. This episode brought to you by Glade plugins. Plug it in, plug it in.
Do they even still make those commercials? Almost sounded like it almost hit that one time.
Alright, buddy, you wanna tell them what's going on?
And so I'm trying to bleed the high pressure oil system right now. I just kind of have it cracked.
I need to put one on. He's like, yo.
I feel like it's not, so don't drive it.
Like a high full cat's what, like $200?
Yeah, and you could just fucking, it's just straight ass pipe, so just weld it in.
Yeah.
Like, you stay underneath there?
So I'm out on my first test drive of it. You can hear it kind of has like a little bit of so it sounds like one of them's kind of missing. But then I'm trying to kind of bleed the air out of it, but it doesn't really seem like it's helping much. I've driven it 2.7 miles, and it's, I mean, you can't really get into boost or can't even do anything. It's just kind of being really, really sluggish. Got the check engine light. It was throwing like an IDM code for the injection driver modules or whatever, but yeah, it definitely feels really, really weak, and it's just running like crap pretty much. But I think it just needs to get the stuff bled out of it, like the air bled out of it. But I don't know, pull back to the shop and run some more codes on it. All right, well, she's running smooth now. I think I figured out what it was. Is on one of the harnesses it said the high to low side or high side open. So basically it just wasn't, I think it was running on 4 cylinders when I drove it, because it ran like it was running on 4 cylinders. But look at this now. So much cleaner. Yeah. All right, so we, now that she's running smooth, I got her in the 100 horse performance tune. I haven't driven it on this yet. It's still only making 15 pounds of boost. So it's still only making 15 pounds of boost, but it just sounds a lot different. I mean, it just sounds a little bit more crisp. Kind of sounds like a 6-liter in that aspect. It's like smoother too. I don't know. It just feels kind of more like raw. I don't know. It's like cleaner. Oh, it does feel nice though. I mean, it just kind of feels like it has like a little bit more like, you know.
Yeah. It just, and it feels like smoother too, like when the power comes on.
And now if it only had a ball bearing turbo on here, one of them 38Rs, that'd be pretty tight. Alright guys, that pretty much concludes the whole install of all that stuff in my truck. I feel like kind of now it's a slippery slope because now that I have the injectors and the HPOP, like now I kind of, it's like, well, I might as well put a turbo on it, you know, to actually really see the true benefit of the injectors and the HPOP, you know, is when you actually turn up the boost. Ty's over here, Ty's making noise. He's putting spacers on the Saab because so he's not all hella sunk anymore. Well, actually, he's putting my spacers on the Saab, so he's not hella sunk. Are those an inch?
1 inch.
1 inch. But yeah. Anyhow, overall the truck feels a lot better. Like it just kind of feels like it's, I don't know, it just kind of feels like it has like a little bit more like grunt to it. From what other people were saying is pretty much like in the stock tune, basically it feels exactly how it used to when I had like when you have like the 80 horse tune on, which I pretty much confirmed that. That's pretty much exactly what it feels like. But yeah, I definitely need to figure out my whole boost issue. I need to order a different wastegate actuator. That one is, I don't even know what it's set to. I think it's just kind of getting old and angry from being, you know, 10 or not even 10, 20 years old. Not that old. No, it's like 15 years old. But yeah, so different wastegate actuator. My truck's only ever ran 20 pounds of boost. So I definitely think with like 25 pounds of boost, it would rip pretty good. So yeah, anyhow, it's on 15 pounds right now and it feels really, really strong, which is pretty cool. But yeah, next upgrades is tranny and other stuff. I don't know, depends on how everything goes with this. You know, I don't want to kill my tranny, but it all depends on how I drive it, which I don't drive it like too much of a butt head. But yeah, thanks to the guys over there at Full Force. They worked with me a little bit on all that stuff and kind of helping me, you know, point me in the right direction. And I seen a lot of reviews and stuff on the internet anyhow. Kind of everybody was talking about those injectors specifically, and you know, the single shots. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. But you know, stay tuned, and we're gonna be towing with it here shortly. Not within the next day or so. We almost did. We almost went to North Coast, but we didn't go to North Coast. But yeah, so Ty's gonna do this. I'm gonna get all these injectors and everything boxed up and ready to send back to Full Force as the cores. Same with the high pressure oil pump. If you guys have any other recommendations on 7.3 stuff that you think I should do, I was probably gonna go ahead and update do the, what was that thing called? The high pressure oil pump crossover, the high pressure oil crossover, so it actually like bridges the two heads together. Kind of the same thing what it did with that fuel deal. But yeah, I think turbo's in the near future, so we could actually see, you know, what the potential is of everything, and then probably shortly after that tranny, but we'll see. So hopefully you guys are stoked that you know, I'm breathing new life into my truck versus going out and just spending money on another truck, which eventually I would like another truck, but I don't know. I'm gonna quit rambling. Thank you guys for watching. Check out Full Force Diesel, and you know, tell them Motion on TV sent you. So catch you guys later, and we'll get towing with that thing soon. What was that, David?
But let me see you work this beautiful mind. If it's right, the stars align. Nothing can keep you from feeling